My name is Damon Generic Troubled Youth Wear.
And this is Kevin. Put 12,000 on the Bulls. Cover the spread. 4 points. No 3. No 4. Gambling jargon. Schneider.
This is Black and White Review.
Nothing mixes better than vanilla and chocolate. And since you're black and I'm white, that makes it more special for the audience. Did you say black? You called him black? He's black. Oh, he said it again. This racism is killing me inside. You're white. You are black. And who cares? Who cares, baby?
All right, so this is a Black and White Review, and this week, baseball's back this weekend, you guys.
Woo! Just in case, I'm excited. Even though I don't care about sports ball at all, I just want some normalcy.
Yeah,
that's
seriously.
That's what I really
I
want.
don't have any sports at all, or for a while. God, it sucks.
Well, it fucks with
I'm not into sports either, but like.
Well, it fucks with everything else because people love sports. So if that's gone, then they gotta worry about. They have one less thing to like spend just fun time with, like, sports brings your family together. Like, it's just one less thing that's like, well, shit, there's a pandemic. Like, hopefully people are out there just fucking, even if it's like 50% seating, I'd see, if I saw a TV.
No, they're not doing fans at all.
What?
They're not doing fans at all.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's how little. Fuck.
Yep.
I mean,
it's a shorter season too, and also it's still not even official. This might, for all we know, by the time this podcast is out, they might decide to cancel the season because they're still kind of on the fence about it. There are players that are for it and players that are against it, and it's nuts. I mean, I don't know what you do in this situation.
I can't really complain that much because, like, the UFC has been doing fanless events, and honestly, if you're a fan of something and it's kind of like, about fighting is just really exciting, but I think if people are going to watch, like, baseball, people watch baseball on TV anyway, so fuck it. Like, if they can do it safely, but how can you do it safely? You're wearing a mask on the field, like, you're in the dugout, and you have to wear, like, a fucking, mask when you're, like, doing... when you're sprinting. Like, it's a lot.
The rules are crazy. Like, I don't know all of it, but like one thing is, like, if you're like have like a pregnant wife or something like that, like, you can leave, but like you have to be tested and you have to wait like 2 weeks, and like some people aren't playing at all. Yeah. Some people are playing. Some people, like I said,
basketball's having that same issue where some players, like, what the league wants to continue, America wants to continue, but some players, like, I don't feel safe. Like,
and they have every right to feel that way.
It's their job. Like, it's like, I don't feel safe in my job. We would listen to anyone else just because the job is super duper popular. It's like, they're still doing it. Like, they're risking it. Also, they're traveling. I understand why people want sports to happen, but I understand why people are worried about sports happening.
But another thing with sports is that they're only having people play. They're having teams only play in the same division. So
they are people.
They are people, but the players are only playing within their own division, so as to not spread. So like people are staying in the same general regions of the country, which at least they're thinking of stuff, but also like. I don't know. But also, they might not release it. So, because of baseball coming back or not coming back, I guess we're going to have to wait and see.
Fuck it.
We watched the baseball movie. So, we watched 2001's Hardball from 2001, directed by Brian Robbins, written by John Gattens, and based on the book by Daniel Goy. I think it's Goy. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Coy, not Goy. I think it's Coy.
Goy!
And it stars Keanu Reeves as Connor O'Neill, Diane Lane as Elizabeth Wilkes, John Hawkes as Tiki Tobin, which I will say his name wrong many times, as well as a group of kids who you're honestly probably not going to remember any of their names.
Which
maybe
is
a couple.
Shame. Which is a shame.
The only names you're really going to remember are G-Baby, Coffee, and Jamal, and the only reason you remember Jamal is because he's actually played by a young Michael B. Jordan in his first role.
Don't you say his middle initial. It's not.
That's right.
It's not it yet.
It's not.
He's Michael Jordan.
Right now, he's just Michael Jordan.
It's 2001, Kevin. Mm-hmm. He's not. He's 13.
Yep. This is his first movie, by the way.
Yeah, and it's weird because like they squander. You can tell that like in some of the scenes, even back then, like he's so talented. Like we'll talk about. A couple scenes stick out to me, but. Yeah, you're right.
He's good.
All the other kids are forgettable.
In his moments that he doesn't have a ton of scenes, but he's pretty good.
Jesus Christ, this fucking movie.
All right, so what this movie is about is that Keanu Reeves is an aimless young man who's scalping tickets, gambling, drinking, and then agrees to coach a Little League team from the Cabrini Green Housing Project in Chicago as a condition of getting a loan from a friend.
He owes a lot of money to a lot of bookies because he's
pretty much what it
Irish.
is.
Irish dead dad. Me honor.
All right, Damon, what did you think of the movie?
I fucking hated it.
You hated it.
I hated it, and the
Jesus.
reason why I hated it more is because I think that I had mega hard nostalgia glasses for this shit, man, because me and my friends would bump the soundtrack from like we would have I had wrestling practice only for like a year or two. I didn't try to wrestle for a long time, but I remember each time we would my friend's dad would be like, what song do you guys listen to? And we were like, Hardball, it won more nights than not. And so I think that like the soundtrack made me think the movie was as good as those memories, and those glasses were shattered, Kevin.
So the song from Hardball is called Hardball.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Like,
It's Bow Wow.
Lil Wayne, like when he's little, like fucking.
Okay.
Like I think he's
And
closer.
isn't there someone else? Who's the other guy?
Those are the biggest names I remember because like it's like what 7+ years ago. No, not even
7.
I'm sorry. I'm just
Almost 20 years ago.
I was looking at the YouTube video yesterday, and the YouTube video got posted 7 years ago, so it's even older than
What?
that.
Who on YouTube is just like, you know what YouTube needs? They need this random tie-in song to the movie Hardball.
Guess what? I did.
Yeah?
It's for us.
It's stuck in my head now because of you.
Yep,
I hate you so
it's
much.
catchy as shit, man. But guess what? The movie, I didn't say the movie. The soundtrack tricked me because I remember loving this movie, but I just like Little Bow Wow. I just like the hook of that song, Kevin. And you're waiting for this movie to fucking hook you in, and it never does. It has all of the elements. It's Keanu Reeves at the height of his powers.
Height of his powers.
Height of his powers.
I don't know. Maybe he's at the height of his powers now. I don't even know. Keanu Reeves has a weird career.
I know, but I'm talking about in terms of just like Matrix. What came out 99?
Yeah, he's this is pretty
been
almost right off the Matrix.
So it's 2 years. Like everyone, he knew what he wanted to do. Like I knew he had to want to do this movie because he could probably pick whatever project he wanted to, and he may have had good intentions, and maybe Diane Lane or like all of like the kids, but I think the studios were like maybe afraid of the movie. I don't know. Like there's so many scenes where it's like if you're gonna be doing this shit, like why are we pulling punches and then making the message worse because of it?
So what Damon's referring to is that this movie was initially going to be rated R.
Yeah.
And I think they decided to change it at the last minute to make it PG-13. And so what they did was there were scenes where if you're watching it, you can kind of tell that some of the kids are kind of dropping F-bombs.
Really, yeah.
But then like the word becomes maybe like shit or something.
Or not
is that
even
what it is?
Not even that.
I don't know.
There was one like glaring one where it's like G Baby. We'll talk about him later, but like G Baby is like talking to Keanu Reeves, and he says like bitch in one sentence. He's like talking shit about one kid, and he says bitch ass, like motherfucker, like busta, and then the movie says like mother freaking. Like it's like if this kid's saying bitch and all this other shit, like he would say fucking a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And especially for how the movie is trying to characterize these kids.
Given the environment of where these kids live,
Yeah.
they absolutely would be saying this sort of things.
Really, it's tame, and I don't know why they try to make this movie tame. It doesn't
get butts in seats, man.
2001, you're right, because like
Even now a little bit. I mean, for a movie like this, you're trying to get like I guess probably like younger people. It's a sports movie.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's more of this movie doesn't even focus enough on the baseball. It spends so much time focusing on the fact that Keanu Reeves' character has a gambling problem, like a serious gambling problem. And whenever you go to the kids, and the kids are pretty good. Like, kid actors, it's a tough job.
They can be hit or miss.
They can either be really good or really bad, and these kids they do a good job. Like, they're not all amazing, but they do what they can.
Because you have less time as a kid, you'd be like, hey, listen, like, this thing that's already really hard, and you're the cream of the crop, you're super talented. Well, you're 8, so you haven't really even had a chance to, like, develop, like, the skill set. So you have to kind of, like, feel. And there are a couple scenes where the kids really do shine through. Like I was saying earlier, Michael B. Jordan has a couple scenes. The kids are good. Everyone is memorable, and like in the sense that like
I don't know any of their names.
I don't know their names.
Maybe like 3 of them.
I don't know their names, but like if the movie added 20 more minutes, I probably would remember their names.
Probably.
Like, those kid actors were trying, but the movie wasn't trying. The plot wasn't trying. Like it was just frustrating to see like what it could have been, because like while we're watching it, both me and Kevin are like, okay, you got Keanu Reeves, you got fucking a baseball team down and out. You have all it's the same thing we were talking about Green Book, where it's like we were talking about Green Book about how that was a clean-cutter movie kind of on paper, but it was very enjoyable. We watched it 2 times. I might watch it again at some point, but this was a by-the-book movie that just fucked the book. Like, it just didn't... I don't know why. It had the formula right there, and then... It squandered it. That's what the movie felt like. It squandered all of it.
Yeah, it could have been like... I mean, it was already pretty cliche, everything that happens, you know? Like, that the team sucks in the beginning, and then they get better, and then, of course, you know, in the end, they win. You know, I don't even care about spoiling that, so it's a kid's sports movie. It's pretty much always happens. The only time you ever really lose is like a Rocky movie.
You don't even... And even bigger spoiler, because, like, fuck this movie. You don't even see them win. Like, it's just a little, like moving picture image of, like, it's got a slow motion image of Keanu and all the kids having their trophies from winning the championship. It's like, we've spent like an hour and 30 minutes now, like, end of the movie, and we're waiting for this big scene, and like, now it's like, no.
We're going to the ship. We're going to the ship. We're going to the ship. And then they go to the ship, and then we don't see it. Trophies. The end.
Do you see that silence?
That's what happens.
Do you see how bad you felt just now?
Literally, as soon as the game starts, the camera just pulls back, and it cuts to black, and then they're all holding the trophies, and it's like a weird slow motion montage with kind of like soulful music playing in the background, and then it just ends.
Yeah.
I don't know what the decision was. They really spend so much time on Keanu Reeves gambling and not enough time on these kids, because the times when the kids are on screen, it's good. You feel for these kids, like the situation, the life they live. It's got to be so hard. I mean, and also some of the things even in the place they live, it's like it feels almost a little.
It's too much. It's too much because the projects that they're based off of, they're a real project. I think it was like AT. I forget like the abbreviation, but like it's like I think it's ATLA. It's one of the projects. Like I think.
Well, it's the Cabrini Green.
Cabrini Green. Yeah. So like I think the residents called it like the ATLA. They called it like the Ville, like shit like that. Like, that's what like I think Daniel Coyle, like the dude who did the book, like I think he based a lot of his research on that area of the project. So you know, some parts of the movie are accurate. Like the gang that the kids have to be worried about are like the gangster disciples. Like that was a real gang. Like they are still actually they're still a real gang. Like it's not like they've gone away.
But also, you say this now to me, like just because you know we looked into it. But also the movie just says like once passing on to like the disciples, and it's like you never even really see the gangsters are just kind of like a presence, but like none of them are characters.
But even like that dude, like barely a fucking presence. We see one shot where they're doing a baseball game, or the kids are being dropped off for baseball, and some dudes like pull up in like this black this black Charger. And, okay, we're gonna see this. It's like a black Charger. Or something. It's a muscle
the camera kind of focuses on like one guy with his head out the window, and you're kind of like, oh, maybe we're gonna see him later. He's gonna try to get one of the kids to join his gang. But I don't think you ever see him again.
No, you don't. You might see him in another scene, but they never established who we're really fighting against. I know we're fighting against, like, you know, the ghetto is bad. Like, the movie keeps saying the ghetto is bad. And
gambling is bad.
But we have nothing to focus that, like, thrust on. Like, there's no, like, because you don't really care about the characters at all. And that's bad because you have so much to care about. Like, we just talked about all the things you could care about. And we give a fuck about this movie.
And also, Keanu spends so much time in the beginning because, you know, it's got to build up the relationship. Where in the beginning, he's like, I don't want to coach these kids because I want to gamble and drink.
How do I reach these kids with my problems?
And he doesn't want to reach these kids. He's just trying to get this money so he can pay off all these bookies he owes monies to.
Mad bookies. He's got like he's paying off, like, he owes one guy $5,000, and because he owes another person for covering a bet, like, another $10,000. And you see him lose them. Like, we've been saying it over and over again. The movie spends a fuck ton of time on these gambling scenes, and then they're not even good. Like, there's no energy to
You don't care that this dude's losing. Like,
you don't give a shit.
He's kind of like Keanu's bad.
I said
he's really bad.
I meant that. Keanu is bad.
I forgot to tell you this. He was actually nominated for a Razzie for this.
I don't blame him.
Not that the Razzies mean anything, but
yeah,
still.
of course. But guess what? Like, Halle Berry was nominated for Catwoman, and I agree with that decision.
She won for Catwoman. How dare you?
I'm sorry,
And
Halle.
she accepted her award.
Like a champion.
Like a champ.
Like a champion. Because Halle Berry is character. She's like, yeah, fuck it, I won. Yeah,
I know what I did. I got a lot of money for it.
Because guess what? You can probably talk shit about a director at the Razzies. She's like, she said, thank you for casting me in that piece of shit movie, whatever your name is. Like, you couldn't do that at the Oscars. You won, like... You can't do that. So I would accept that in a heartbeat, just for that alone. But no, like, Keanu was not good in this movie, like, at all. And Diane Lane is like the secondary-ish lead, but their love story is underdeveloped as fuck. Like, it's just, so you can't even really there's nothing to anchor your interest in if you're paying attention.
Yeah, she's good in it, but like narrative-wise, there's no real reason for her to like him. Like, and the movie's reason is just kind of like, oh, like these kids, because eventually the movie gets so
no one trusts these kids.
It's like these kids look up to you, and these kids don't look up to anybody.
I said no one trusts these kids. Like, listen,
oh no,
I can't turn my back around these children, but. But you
and that's like the attraction she has to him, kind of. But then when they go on their first date, she's just kind of like, I know you don't work for the company that you're working for, because he's basically just doing this job for his friends.
I can change you. It's another bad woman character.
It is. Oh my God,
it's another bad woman character.
Because she's trying to give him like a job. And...
Oh, look, I know you care about these kids, so I'm going to overlook all these other red flags, even though you've been roped into it and I know it. All the characters are written poorly.
Yeah, no, there's no real antagonist in this movie other than I guess the projects themselves, but but it just kind of feels like a background thing, which it shouldn't if you're trying to make a movie like this. It should be very important, and it just kind of like passing lines of like Keanu walks through the projects with I guess we're just gonna start. It's Headband Kid. Oh, by the way, so David and I were talking about this, and we can't really remember the names of the kids other than G Baby, who's like the cute young little kid, who's like real adorable. Coffee,
because he's G Baby's
older brother.
Yeah,
and then there's Jamal.
By proxy, we're gonna remember Coffee.
And we know Jamal just because he's played by Michael B. Jordan, and they kind of say Jamal's name a lot. I feel like,
I remember,
or maybe just because he's Michael B. Jordan. I just noticed it.
I remember Ray because he has glasses, and I'm biased, and I have glasses, so I remember
Ray's the kid with the glasses. There's a kid who wears a headband a lot, and there's a kid with headphones.
I think the headband is like Andre.
I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
We watched this movie not that long ago.
Fuck yeah, man! It's still
very recently, and I don't remember.
Watched it twice, and I still could not tell you. Asthma Kid.
Asthma Kid?
Yeah, Asthma Kid.
And then there's Kid with the headphones.
Kid with headphones. Big Papa headphones.
Big Papa headphones, yeah, because he just listens to the same tape over and over again.
Yeah. And
it's Big Papa on 5 different tapes over and over again.
Oh, and you were talking about the villains. And the movie, there's another thing that's fucking weird. So you were you just said, Kevin, earlier about the project of the villain, and we both make that point.
And the other antagonist, we would also like Keanu just making bad decisions and keep gambling and gambling. Like, he keeps getting deeper and deeper. And eventually, he just finds another like bookie guy to gamble to, who's played by Hector Salamanca. I forget. I don't know the actor's real name.
I forgot that.
But it's Hector Salamanca, and it's like all right, I owe like $12,000 to this guy and like $6,000 to this guy. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna gamble $12,000 on like this random Bulls game with Hector Salamanca.
So
even though he's not Hector Salamanca, same as one. If you watch Breaking Bad, in the back of your mind, you're just like,
Hector
oh my
God,
that's Hector Salamanca. You're insane. You don't have this money, Keanu. But somehow, of course, he wins. And then the only lessons he finally learns is because, like, one of the bookies is kind of like a family friend, it's implied. Mm-hmm. The guy who owns the bar where he first goes.
He knew his dead dad.
And every now and then the movie brings up the dead dad. But
dead dad.
But we never... Do you ever find out why the dead dad matters?
I always attribute it to, like, regular, like, crooked, like, mob neighborhood shit. Kind of like, it's like, okay, your dad, we knew him. He was respectable. And
he was the best.
Yeah, like, best is such a fucking generic thing in these types of movies.
But we don't know why.
No clue, because the movie didn't care to even characterize his dead dad, that he has the clout for this person who's the bookie. Like, just something simple like that. We don't know what the dead dad did.
And if you could have just done something good with the dead dad, it could have been like a driving force for Keanu. It's like, your dad was the best because of this. And it's like, wow, because of that thing, that also relates to me trying to teach these kids.
How do I reach these kids? Through the lessons
I learned from my father, because he's the best. Why is he the best? I don't know. I'm not the one who got hired to write Hardball.
I know. It just screams like laziness or getting butts in seats, because if this movie was rated R and it was 2 hours, this has been a good movie. Like, if this was, like, if it gives 20 minutes...
Probably would have made even less money than it did, though.
I know.
I'm just curious about
money
whether or not, like...
Yeah, like, better doesn't mean more money.
But I am curious, though, like, because they had to make this... I don't know if they had to, but because they made it PG-13, like, I wonder if it's anything other than dubs of swears that got censored. Like, maybe there were, like, really messed up scenes that, like, really drove it forward. Or maybe, like, or not messed up scenes, but just more scenes that, like, kind of...
Real.
You understood these kids a little more, like, so the way we knew their names, because... These kids are just kind of generic, and, like, none of them really grow. Like, Keanu barely even teaches them baseball.
Yeah, no, barely. There's one scene where he's, like, hitting, like whatever what you play baseball more than I do.
He's just kind of, like, hitting dingers at them. So, like, someone can, like, here's one to first, and here's one out. And, like, he kind of does it to, like, show that, because one kid's bullying another kid, and he hits the ball, and that kid then gets scared. And he's like, what, you a baby or something, Coffee? You're making fun of him, but listen to that. And it's like, rule number 1, no making fun of each other. And it's like, okay, that's kind of endearing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're also bullying children in a weird way, but it's still the beginning of the movie, so you got to grow too. So I'll give you that.
Yeah, we're going to give you an out because we're assuming it's going to get better at some point. It doesn't, but
not really.
No, it doesn't.
He just kind of decides to stop gambling because with surprise, like for some weird reason, when his bet with Hector Salamanca goes through and he wins, and then he's just kind of like, I'm going to bet again and again
and again.
And
I'm going to learn. I've learned nothing.
I haven't learned anything, but then for some reason, when like the bookie, like the first bookie who knew his dad is just kind of like, so then what? And it's like, well, I'll gamble on this, and then what? And then I'll gamble on this, and it's like, oh yeah, great. Then you figured out life. You don't have to do anything ever again.
You run the world, and he's just and I think that was most of the scenes that were enjoyable in this movie were these one-offs where you can tell that it's compelling on the surface, but they didn't dig like beyond any of that because there's that scene where I like that dialogue where it was like, oh, so you're just gonna keep gambling, you're gonna keep gambling.
Yeah,
you're like that was good.
That bartender bookie could have been like a really good character.
He could have been good. Diane Lane could have been a character because when she realizes, quote unquote, that he's a piece of shit, and they're leaving the bar at one point when she's like, I want you to change. Like you reach these kids, so you must be a good person.
I can't even reach these kids, but you can.
You can because you're a coach. Like I mean, I'm just a teacher, but you're the coach.
I make them read stuff. They don't want to read stuff. They want to hit dingers with you.
Yeah, you make kids hit the bat. You make the kids hit the ball with the bat. They love you. So that scene was poignant because it was her and him arguing about like the kids and like his interaction with them and all of that. But the movie spends both those scenes we're talking about a minute. 2 minutes, like an hour 46 runtime.
The bookie only gets like 2 scenes of actual like real dialogue.
And
the other 2 scenes are like, "Where's my money, O'Neill?
Yeah.
Give me my money."
Connor O'Neill, you Irish son of a bitch.
Yeah, the movie opens with him literally. It's pouring rain. He's wearing a black suit and he's drinking a bottle out of like a brown bag, and he's going to a church to pray. This man's just like, "What are you praying for, my son?" Because he's an Irish priest. I'm not sure if he is or not, but I'm picturing him. So what are you praying for, son? Are you praying for mercy? Are you praying for forgiveness? Like, I'm praying that the Bulls do a 3-point spread on this game, or whatever the terms are. I don't know gambling terms. When he goes into the church, when he goes into church holding the drink and it's pouring rain, he's like, looks sad, he's all tired. I swear to God, I'm like, is this a scene from Constantine? This looks like it was cut out of Constantine and then put into this. And it's like the first shot, I'm like, wait. I'm like, Damon, you got put in the wrong DVD.
Yeah, it's like, no. Like, it's a two-parter. Like, this fucking Hardball prequel to Constantine. He fails these kids. That's what happens. He starts smoking.
Oh, no.
Yes, and then, it all goes downhill from there.
Oh, Constantine.
I know. Strike 3. But yeah, no, and also, so Keanu is kind of an antagonist, even though he's a protagonist, and the other potential antagonists are 2 characters that should have been 1 character. It's the two. One's the head of the baseball, the little league.
The little league that he got kind of swindled into coaching because
the reason why, did we say the reason why?
I think we did. Because he asked for money from like his stockbroker friend or his security friend.
He's a banker boy.
He looks like Gordon Gekko.
Yeah, slick back hair, suspenders and shit.
So he's like, I'll give you $500 a week if you coach these kids. By the way, I won't be there, so good luck. And like that's how he's gonna try to pay off some of his gambling debts. And like it is working for a little while. Like he is. I mean, to pay off his debts, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's how he gets into it, and like he's giving all these kids, and of course they're all like fresh. I feel like we barely talked about kids. We just gave up the generic terms
because the movie doesn't focus on them, so it's hard to even like begin to talk about the kids because they're kind of the best part, but the movie doesn't give a fuck about them.
Yeah, it cares way more about the gambling.
They focus on the gambling. They focus on like everything is so cartoonish.
Tiki being like
wait. But before we even get on to Tiki, I'm talking. What upset me about the other antagonists, it's the head of the league who's a black man, and then the other like deuteragonist or whatever the fuck you want to call the other antagonist. He's like the white. He's a white dude who's like the lead, he's like the coach of like the best
another team.
But he's like the slick douchey team like sports movie. Douches.
It's the team they got to play at the end.
Yes. So I don't know why that character wasn't combined, or like why is this and because like they were so nitpicky about the what's the name of the team? Is it the Wakumbas or wait, hold on, let me
they're all African tribe.
Yeah, they're
all the baseball teams are African tribes, which I'm not sure what that Easter egg is supposed to mean.
Yeah, because like there's some things in the background. I saw like a shield and like I saw like a spear.
There's
and
a lot of
shield
like, random
and
just
then
African imagery that like the movie doesn't really
talk about
at all.
Yeah,
it's just kind of there.
It's there, and it's like Africa, and I'm like, I don't know if black people wrote this. I feel like there'd be more focus if this was like if it was a big deal. And also the reason why I think and once again, I don't fucking know. If someone can be like, well, actually, Damon, like, there was several blacks in the room, let me know. But the projects are cartoonish. Like, I'm not trying to downplay, like, the horrific stories that, like, I've heard, I've, like, seen the results of, or I've heard secondhand. Like, I'm never gonna, like, downplay how vicious, like, a hood can be, or, like, a ghetto can be, or whatever the fuck that is, whether it's, like, whatever. But the movie spins, like, 5 minutes showing it, and it's so outlandish because you don't really interact with the characters that much that live there. So how are you gonna like empathize? Like they use the subject material so poorly when this movie could have been used really well as a vector of being like, hey, listen, it's really bad. Can you imagine if like the baseball team didn't have to worry about drug dealers and shit in their front lawn? Like
now that I think about it though, like the way that it's exaggerated and like the first time you really see the projects,
yeah,
it's like it is very exaggerated, but also it's Asthma Kid is the one who's like walking through it alone with a pizza.
Yeah.
So also I wonder if maybe it's the reason why it's so heightened is maybe it's supposed to be it's his perspective and he has such high anxiety because you even know that like they shoot it a little differently if you recall. It is a little shaky.
It kind of looks like dystopian. It looks dystopian.
Yeah, it's like he's having a panic attack and like it's almost like he's walking through a horror movie.
Ooh, I like that.
Like how he goes in the one corner and that one dude just like lights a crack pipe.
Yeah, no,
like a little jump scare.
Get out of my head. I was thinking about that because it's like there was a reason why they filmed it like that because they gave a shit about I guess this scene and he even crawls like through like a little secret passageway. It kind of like now that I'm thinking about the scene more, it kind of reminded me like a Choose Your Own Adventure with like Goosebumps or whatever, where it's like, you're gonna go here or here. What's the least likely path of murder, and he still gets jumped, and I guess I liked that part where it's like you can be as careful as you can, but like if you have a big book bag, I was like, it flashed me back to like my mom lessons being like, if you ever walk outside, never have too many things in your bag on your back because number one, you can't see behind you. Number two, people might think you have stuff because number one, you have glasses, you wear a uniform, like you're a target. So be careful. And I'm like, all right, I'll take that to heart. I'll take that to heart. So that scene, I was like, oh, bro, your book bag's way too bulky. That's a target. You're gonna get jumped, and you're asthmatic. Like everyone in that project knows that kid. And you bring a pizza, like you said, a pizza, like. Of course, it looks like a fucking horror movie.
Because when the first thing happens is he's walking in, it's like one random dude, his antagonist, like, yo, let me get some of that pizza.
Oh yeah, you're right. I totally fucking forgot. Oh yeah. So, but here's the thing too. I agree with that interpretation, but I don't know if they thought about that. I don't know if that's why they were doing it. I don't know if I can give this movie that much credit. I don't know because no other part of the movie has been good.
It's mostly just the kids.
And they're
all kind of.
They had a chance to do.
We don't know their names.
Not at all. They had a chance to do so much, and one of them ends up in a gang at some point. Even that's done fucking poorly.
Yeah, and so that goes back to the villain characters, where it's like. So, like, right away, as soon as Keanu gets there and he has no idea what's going on, like, when he first starts coaching the team, he's just kind of like, whatever, do whatever you want. Like, go run around the field. I don't care. Like, I'm not really coaching you. I just want $500 a week.
Yeah.
At that point, like, the commissioner of the league, who's a black man, and then I guess like the other coach who's like going to be the rival like evil coach.
The two antagonists.
Because every sports team has like that one team, or it's just like that team.
We're douches because we practice and we have good uniforms. And I guess my coach is a douche. Like that. I feel bad for those like tropes too.
So the commissioners tell him like you don't have enough kids on your team, and if that happens, your team is going to be like. You're not going to be able to play this year, which is ridiculous because if this is like a public league, then they should just dissolve the team and just throw the kids into other teams. Like that's just what makes more sense.
Based on your experience with like how like those teams,
if they're all a part of the same like that's probably what would happen.
Yeah, I guess like my only experience has really been with like fucking like t-ball. I quit. I retired from baseball like when I was like 6 or 7. Like I didn't go further, so I would have no clue how the politics of the game behind the scenes, these parents and umpires and, adults that care. And Keanu, and also the movie Keanu doesn't care about these kids. Like, he doesn't care about the children. Like, the movie never shows him. He berates them a lot. Like, he kind of, like, yells at them, like, in a group. He doesn't even address the kids individually that much. Like,
only with G-Baby, who only
Of course he's good, G-Baby. His name's fucking G-Baby. Like, why would he not?
He's the cute young kid.
Yeah,
he's adorable.
Yeah, oh my god, he's a sweet...
He's Drew Barrymore in E.T.
Oh my god, don't... It makes it even sadder what happens. Like, it says, like, G-Baby, pour it out for you.
And G-Baby's also Coffee's brother, and then the headphones kid is like, I don't know, he's with them sometimes. I don't think he's related to them, but the mom comes in with all three of them. Like I think you said that you thought that maybe it was like just like a neighbor kid, and it's like
yeah. Because like the whole concept of like, you know, the whole takes a village type shit. Like I knew so many kids that I was like, oh, it's, and we were actually talking about this before the podcast too, where you know kids too, where it was like, oh, who are you being raised by? My grandma, or like, you know, it was a bunch of grandmas and aunts and uncles, or I knew tons of kids that it was a nice older woman that was like, oh hey, listen, like I live next door. Like I think this woman, she had 2 kids, and the other, kid that had big Papa headphones, was just her neighbor's kid, and just brought him with him. Like, okay, reach these kids, Keanu. Just try and reach these kids.
Well, the movie just doesn't explain it, so that's why, like, at first when they're introduced, you're just kind of like, wait, are these guys like a family? Like, but. They are, but headphones isn't.
Yeah.
And headphones just listens to Big Pop all over and over again.
Yeah, over and over again. Because like I guess like that's the movie's like way like to show like mental illness, or like I don't
know what they're trying to say.
I don't even know either. Just because like he only talks maybe once.
It's more just a plot point at the end.
I know.
Is that the whole point? Like that was it?
I don't know.
It's
like
a cute
where it's like, hey, everyone,
so eventually
we're gonna get together.
The stickler
asshole like duo.
Because the asshole duo. They're
asshole.
The coach and the commissioner.
Coach and
I
like the coach and the commissioner.
The coach and the commissioner. Like every now and then they'll just kind of be like, you can't do that, and like some of them make sense, but the way they go about it is just so sleazy.
Vicious.
Like they're like, you need to get more kids on your team. So it's like, okay, fair. That is fair. I mean, even though I think just remember, like, okay, the rules of your league, you don't have enough kids. This can't be a team. It makes enough sense. Fair. It's not insane, but it is conflict for a movie.
Whatever.
So that's why Keanu meets Diane Lane, and she's the teacher of the kids. So it's like, hey, like the only way these kids can play is if like the teacher, if you say it's okay because you're their teacher, so that they have better grades because the mom wants them focus more on school. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, and then the teacher's kind of like, yeah, great. If you help them tutor, like talk to the mom, like then they will. And that's what they say. Yeah. It's like, okay, so if you help them tutor, like you'll do this. And it's like Miss Wilkins.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah,
that sounds very.
Diane Lane,
close.
the mom
close.
The mom of G-Baby and Coffee is just kind of like
G-Baby.
If you Miss Wilkins said good things. Said she saw something in you.
So I trust
if you help the kids with their schoolwork and also then they can play baseball. He's like, great. But I don't think in the entire movie we ever see Keanu help them with their schoolwork at all.
Not one fucking time.
Not one time. But the kids, of course, they sort of get better. But in that kind of, this is a
movie better.
Like a movie. No, like how you do it in the
what?
Oh, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
what?
It's kind of just. I feel like it is a little racist, I guess.
Yeah,
where it's like whenever you take just like this piece of like famous literature and you just have like the most like
the trimmings
kid who lives in the ghetto explaining it, where it's just kind of like, yeah, man, like it's like, did you read the book, Coffee? He's like,
yeah,
I don't know, Coffee,
scene.
Did you read the book? And he's like,
yeah, man, fuck.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Meg's real stupid. She thinks
was it Little Women?
She thinks, yeah, because it's Little Women.
Little Women.
I think it's Little Women. It makes the most sense.
I don't know shit. So
I think it's Little Women.
You think it's Little Women?
I'm pretty sure it's Little Women.
It's Little Women.
Because in Little Women, the dad's gone because he's fighting the Civil War.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's
Context
like, clues. So then the
Context clues.
So Coffee's interpretation is like, I don't see what Meg's even complaining about her mom. They're stupid for whining about dad being gone because where I'm from, dads don't ever come back. And then Diane Lane's like, wow, like you understood the book. You actually did read it, even though you didn't like it. But wow, like your life is really tough. Like this is horrible.
Yeah.
But then but it's so surface level. The movie wants to talk about it, like touch on these horrible social issues, things that are happening in the world, but it doesn't actually get into the nitty gritty of it and actually try to like not solve it, but at least address it and say like this is kind of why these things happen. And it doesn't really do that. It's a very surface level.
It's like they whitewashed this movie, and I don't know why. If the whole point of the movie is to like show the atrocity, I guess like they're like you said, very surface level, very like, well, we can't upset people, but that's the whole point of a movie like this.
Yeah.
Right? You're supposed to have an inspiring message. You're supposed to, maybe like instill a call to action, because I think Keanu Reeves is a good dude. Like everything I've seen so far, I haven't seen him fucking kids yet, because like everyone's fucking kids all of a sudden.
What?
Actors, like everyone.
Okay.
Everyone's fucking kids, Kevin.
I didn't know we were talking about the actor Keanu Reeves. I thought we were talking about this movie. So I was just like,
who knows? Keanu Reeves so bad in this movie. Who knows? Like,
I was like, David, did we watch the same movie?
Yeah. Fuck. I don't know, Kevin. Like,
Goodness.
I want something compelling compelling. It would be more compelling. I was like, wait, Keanu, I paid you to teach these kids. I didn't think you were going to ruin their lives hard. They already live in the hood. I didn't think you were going to, diddle them. Why are you doing this, Conor O'Neill? Why are you doing this? No, I'm talking about the fact that Keanu Reeves, the person, is a good dude from what I've seen so far in his whole career and everything. So he might, and like I said before, he's at the height of his powers, or it's 2 years after The Matrix, so he can do whatever he wants. Maybe he saw this and he was like, I can make a difference. I can actually, shine a light on it, and maybe the studio got involved, like I said. But it doesn't excuse the fact that the movie it has so many chances and it fails consecutively. I think it's the whole point that we're going to get across this whole episode. Unfortunately, just consecutive failure. And on such a level where it's, like I said before, it's like if you're going to do, the cookie-cutter bullshit, it's so by the book, just spend a little more time on the baseball. Spend more time on the kids. If they spend just 20, like I said before, 20 more minutes on the children, they would have been A-okay, but they were focused on just, hey, the hood's real bad, guys. The hood's so bad. Can you see it? Can you see how bad it is? They have, every generic, hood movie trope. They have, the strong black mom. We talk about the woman that dropped the kids off. She's listen, even her characterization and her movements, very stoic, being and also what upsets me too, this White Savior movie is when no spoiler, eventually we keep saying G-Baby, pour one out. G-Baby dies, at the end. The movie spends more time on the pan out of G-Baby's body than them winning the championship.
Yeah. Oh God.
Long time. It's gratuitous. And if the movie was if the movie was better, it would actually been effective, but it wasn't effective. It just felt gross. And I'm not opposed to a good old bunch of murder and tragedy and all that shit. I'm not, because it's compelling television and drama. I'm gonna watch something and feel something. You might as well shock me. But it felt gross because the movie didn't earn that scene. The movie thought it did and did not earn watching this little kid. I'm watching this kid fucking, he's dead. His brother's cradling his body. I should feel more. And they even fucked that scene up. They fuck that scene up. It's like a drive-by. They were caught in the middle of it. And I think John Wick's ruined how I look at any gunshots now, because it's so succinct and the shots are so good. Where they were positioned in the scene, even with a ricochet, I don't know how he got shot where he got shot. Yeah. It just didn't make sense.
It doesn't.
After watching it twice, I'm okay, let me look for anything. I'm okay.
The bullets don't fly in their direction at all.
Where they're level, where the people are
also,
aiming.
I'm pretty sure the guys in the car have a shotgun. Yes. So based on where they're aiming,
and the hole in his body, it
doesn't make sense.
It just doesn't make sense. And that was a scene where, like I said, if you're going to spend a 30-second, I don't know, it felt like a too long of a pan off this little kid's body, and you didn't even earn his death in what led up to it. Come on now. That's gratuitously stupid.
And just, also the fact that, coffee.
Coffee!
G-Baby's
coffee. I know it's hard to keep track.
G-Baby's he's the one that you're oh, G-Baby. Because there's one scene where, in the beginning when the team's all fighting and they don't like each other, and Keanu's what happened here? And G-Baby's just recites, verbatim what happened. He's he called him a bitch, and then he said, shut up, man.
Your mom was a hoe.
And then he said, you don't know, and he said this. And then he said, I'm better than you, I'm not better than you. And the whole moment, you're just kind of
oh, G-Baby. And it goes to our point that the kids, when they have moments show what little acting or their talent or acumen, it comes through in the movie. They're trying, but you can't have these child actors trying more than Keanu Reeves. He has, and I'm saying Keanu Reeves isn't trying. Just when he acts, it's I'm looking at moldy toast. I'm just oh, you don't know you dead yet, Keanu.
Of the Keanu Reeves movies I've seen, I think this might be his worst performance
so far. I may have to rewatch.
I've seen Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I think he's.
Oh,
have you ever seen him in Bram Stoker's Dracula? He's not good in it.
I've heard.
He's got a really bad British accent.
I've heard.
But in that, I don't know. I think this is way worse. Also, because he's not the main character in that. He's just kind of one of he's in the main ensemble of it. But he's not the main. He's not Dracula, and he's not Dracula's love, and he's not Van Helsing.
Fair enough. Yeah, no.
God, that movie's crazy.
Yeah, and this is shorter, and you still think it's worse than his portrayal of this is worse than Bram Stoker's Dracula. Isn't that movie long? Is it 2 hours?
Yeah, but he's also, like I said, he's not in it a lot, and it's mostly just because his British accent's really bad. Or whatever his accent is. It's very
airy.
Kind of airy, and how dare you?
Mm-hmm. So he's just
I don't know.
He's loud whispering.
It's been a while.
In loud whispering. No, it's fine. I would believe anything you said about Bram Stoker's Dracula. But yeah, no, it's just like I can't think of one good thing about. Well, and also too, it's like
you never really see why they. Oh, sorry.
No. You what you're gonna say?
You never really see why they're improving because usually in sports movies,
yeah,
you usually get like a montage of like them getting better or like or Keanu Reeves has like good moments of teaching them, and there's only like. Two or
I remember one when you said dingers.
Yeah, when he's bullying them, pretty much. And then the other scene is when he's like believes in Headphones Kid because it turns out Headphones Kid's an amazing pitcher.
Yeah.
But he has to be listening to his music because he doesn't listen to everybody else, and that's when he's really good. And then later in the movie, dickhead commissioner and jerk coach, the coach and the commissioner,
coach and the commish.
They come back and are like, "Oh, Jamal." He's too old. He's like 2 weeks too old. We checked the birth certificate and you faked it, which I thought was kind of ludicrous. It's like, how are they guys pulling birth certificates? So apparently it's actually how you do it in a league, just to make sure you don't have a kid who's like way too old to be in that league because it would be unfair. But
yeah,
Jamal's like 2 weeks. And also at this point in the movie, it's like, how did you guys not... Like, you're looking for this now because he got away with it.
Yeah.
So this coach cares so much about this single team that he's like looking into this.
I remember parents like that even when
That's insane.
Even when I was really young, like because some kids would look older than others because puberty, and some parents would, you know, I grew up with a bunch of Hispanics, so like they take baseball seriously, they take baseball mad serious, they take soccer like fucking like there are blood feuds over soccer in some neighborhoods. Like I remember that shit, but some parents would him and fucking haw about being like, oh, this motherfucker is like, well, this motherfucker 5'11" because he's 11 or 12. Like he's just in that age bracket. You see his father, he's 6'5". Like his kid's gonna be tall. I'm sorry.
That kid's got some facial hair.
Yeah, I'm sorry that your other kid his balls haven't dropped yet, but it's gonna happen eventually. So I can see this. This is a caricature of what happens, but I can believe it.
Yeah, this coach he just shows up. He's a straw man, you know.
Yeah.
He's the EPA agent in Ghostbusters. That's what he is.
He's like, I'm here because the plot demands like me to push against it. Even
there's no identifiable antagonist, so I guess I'll just keep messing stuff up for you.
Yeah, when I have no reason to do this as like what my job entails or anything.
It's not like his kids are on his team.
No,
unless he adopted.
I don't know.
It's entirely possible. He could have mixed kids.
I don't fucking know.
Movie doesn't get into that.
I don't fucking know that.
Probably not his and his kids. Probably not on his team.
Not even the slightest. And like the only other character, like we talking about G Baby Coffee and like I said, Jamal. Like Jamal joins a gang because of the birth certificate bullshit, and
it's really Michael Jordan actually is really good.
He's emotional.
He's like crying. He's like, "What do you mean I can't play?" He's like, "Ma said it wouldn't matter."
He's doing that type of like whine where it's like, "My mom said it was fine." Like he's like, "I'm gonna throw." He's doing that type of like pleading with Keanu Reeves, and it's like I can see why Michael B. Jordan is Michael B. Jordan. He was talented then. Like if you could focus, imagine if the movie focused on Michael B. Jordan like trying to we shift like the focus where Michael B. Jordan's the main character and he's like, "Mom, are you sure I can just fucking lie about this?" Like we can see his progression from like being this baseball
There's so many different ways for this movie to be a better movie.
To be fucking dope. To be fucking dope. Because I saw Michael B. Jordan cry, I'm like, we could have a whole movie around this fucking kid right now. We could do it. It would be so good. But the movie was like, the directors or whatever the fuck were like, Keanu, he's the guy. Even though he hasn't much charisma as a corpse in this movie.
And kids are tough to
Very
work
tough.
with because their schedules are weird and you don't know what this kid can really act or not. So they probably only done like random stage stuff. So you don't know.
And didn't you say, dude, that like fucking because G Baby was so young, they only had to like do like I wasn't sure if you looked into that.
I didn't look into it. I'm not positive, but typically like the younger they are, the less time you can have them on set.
Child labor laws.
Usually, child labor. Yes, David. Child labor laws and shit.
Thank God.
That's why.
Because if there weren't child labor laws, we would have children work. We did it.
So because of that, like I would assume that G Baby would probably be the hardest one to have on set.
Yeah.
And the other kids, because they're all probably reasonably around the same age.
Yeah.
So they're probably all at the same schedule.
Yeah, pretty much.
But because of how young he is, it might be different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's hard to wrangle kids.
That's a very prime word, wrangle. You wrangle children.
You have to deal with 6 kids and 3 kids who don't have any lines and whose names you never even learn. We don't remember the names of the kids, but at least the movie says them and they have names. We just don't remember what they are.
Because it was just so.
But there actually are 3 kids who they straight up don't address and don't have names.
Kevin, I'm gonna ask you a real question right now. Is this worse than Jumper? I want you to think long and hard because
That's a tough question.
Is this worse than Jumper?
I would say...
Is it worse for different reasons than Jumper?
Yeah, they're both different kinds of bad.
Different kinds of bad?
Because, I mean, at least Jumper was just trying to make
be a
a fun action movie.
Yeah.
This movie's trying to, like, tug at your heartstrings and put a magnifying glass on as a serious social issue and then fail at
fucking it up.
really badly.
Like, yeah, so I think I'm more upset at this movie because of the subject matter it was trying to tackle. Because Jumper was a bad Jumper was bad thematically, but summer fun blockbuster gives a fuck.
Yeah, a blockbuster that just didn't set up its franchise the way it wanted to.
Yeah, no. I don't
know. It happens.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, like, fucking, this is, like you said, like everything you just said, it just did it poorly.
It should have been, like, just a thought-provoking drama.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very thought-provoking.
The only thing that it provoked was, like, me remembering, like, fucking, like, T-ball and, like, and then, like, you know, what I remember... They were all negative memories, just like this movie, actually, because like the parents were like very competitive. Like I was actually. My
parents are crazy.
My dad tells a story all the time where like, because one of the parents was also the coach, and one like I was like young. I could have been maybe at the oldest like. When do you stop playing t-ball? Like when's the oldest? Like would you know that? Because like I know I wasn't like at the peak of it, but I wasn't like.
I would say maybe like 8.
So I may have been 6 or 7, like maybe like in that like frame of like time.
Yeah,
but
T-ball's you're pretty young. You're probably like 6 till like 8, I would say. But you might be even a little younger.
Yeah, no, I just remember being in the outfield and like fucking like prancing and doing like cartwheels trying to catch the ball, and then at the tee I'd fuck it up. I hit it eventually, but then I remember I stopped playing and I was like, oh great, I don't have to fucking play anymore. Phenomenal. I can just sit. I brought a book. I'm in the dugout. I'm on fucking cloud 9. My dad's like, you're not playing this game anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, listen, man. This is how my dad's talking to me as like a 7-year-old. Listen, bud. Later on, I'm kidding. Later on, he's explaining to me why. He was like, listen, I found out that like they stopped playing you because like you weren't doing well, so they would just try to find ways to like just.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man, that happened more often than not.
In t-ball.
Those Hispanics.
That's ridiculous.
Those Hispanics be loco. They're crazy. They love their baseball and football. Sometimes too much, just like some people. And this coach, he was just the t-ball coach in the area. Just kind of the little league teams. Like it all depends on who's in the league. And this guy had an interest. He did enough, but realistically, the parents didn't care either because their kids are playing more. So why would they?
That's so messed up.
I didn't care though, dude, because like I was just all I wanted to do was like look at the grass and fucking like not be bothered.
I get that.
So like I wasn't bothered because I got to sit down and like be on my own bullshit. And then my dad was like, I don't like how they're treating you, so we're leaving. I'm like, so it was the best situation. Like what it could have been, it was like, wait, fuck this game, right, Dad? And he's like, yeah, fuck this game. And then we dipped. And then the same thing happened in soccer like a couple years later because we didn't learn. That's a story for a soccer movie with a black and white person.
See, my t-ball story is a little bit, I don't know. I think it's still funny.
Oh yeah, why not?
It's
childhood is like traumatic, so it's probably funny.
So like my t-ball, I had a really funny t-ball story probably when I was about the same age as it's t-ball. So yeah. I was really young. I just remember I was in the outfield, just that was my position, and just where the field was, an ice cream truck just drives by, and in the middle of the game, every single kid just runs to the ice cream truck. Ice cream! Like, losing their mind. Oh my god! And then, like, I'm the only kid who didn't run, and my dad was so proud of me. He's like, wow, like, you didn't interrupt the game. Like, you stayed at your position when everyone did it.
Kevin. You a soldier.
You stayed where you're supposed to. It's like, that's great. Because, like, at that point, all the parents just, like, the game actually had to stop because all the parents bought their kids ice cream.
They gave in.
Which is ridiculous. You're in the middle of the game. I don't care how young your kids are.
I know.
Get them ice cream later.
It sets a bad precedent. I'm laughing because, like, you're not wrong, but, like, we're just being like, don't get your kids ice cream. But you shouldn't get your kids ice cream.
This is also a pop-in spot. Like, for how the leagues worked here, this is a huge baseball field. Like,
so
it's a huge field. So we're not the only baseball team playing in this huge plot of land.
Shit.
We're the small one, and then there's another one in the next corner, and then there's another one in another corner, and then there's another one in another corner, and there's another one like adjacent in the middle.
Damn.
So like these teams, different teams are playing different diamonds all the time throughout the day on like a Saturday. So when the game ended, There's probably one ice cream truck chilling around that at that time at almost all times.
Looping.
So if they would just wait until the game ended, they would have got the ice cream.
Yeah. I get why your dad was like, my man. That's my son right fucking there.
I remember my dad asked me, he's like, remember my dad told me that story fairly recently. He's like, yeah, I was so proud of you. Didn't leave your field, this and that. And I was like, yeah, I probably just knew that you weren't going to buy me ice cream even if I did.
Because you put that shit in my head real
especially if I ran in the middle of a game.
Oh my god, you won't get ice cream for a week if you do that bullshit.
Yeah,
no, you
What's the matter with
you knew better. You knew better.
And I told him that, it's just kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, I wouldn't have been mad. Like, if all the other kids did it, I wouldn't have been as mad. If you were the only one that did it, it's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
but,
no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. No,
but then it's like, Pa, Dad, you're telling me I can give into groupthink.
Yeah.
I was an individual.
Google gobble, google gobble. I was like, nah, I thought I raised him better. But yeah, no, it's just like, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that pissed me off about this movie. Like anything else that really that we didn't touch on any fucking capacity. I
mean, Jamal just like when Jamal gets off the team,
he becomes.
He just
like,
joins again. We don't see him again, and then like right before G Baby gets shot, you just see he's in the gang.
You don't even see him talk because Coffee is like, "Hey Jamal, like what's going on?" And then Jamal kind of like Michael. He's not Michael B. Jordan. He's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan looks up at the camera and he just he shakes his head like like he's saying no with his head.
Yeah,
that's all of Jamal.
He's got his hood up, and then after doing that, he just puts his head down
with a black bandana on and that's it. He looks, menacing. Once again, Michael B. Jordan pulls off the look of a kid that's been corrupted within a couple of weeks of leaving the baseball diamond.
Wallace. Wallace.
Fan theory. It's just it's a prelude.
That's my fan theory.
Yeah, that's your fan theory.
Yeah, my fan theory is that because this movie is right before The Wire came out.
Yeah.
My theory is that the Jamal just becomes Wallace on The Wire because it's a similar situation he's in.
I mean, like he has like because we don't really know his home life either, so it could fit. Like all of it fits. Like
he changes his name and moves to Baltimore.
Yeah, fuck it, man. Start over, man. You're 13. Start young. Start fresh. You're a 13-year-old black man. You lived a full life. Just pack up and leave.
Oh, God.
Sorry, Kevin. Sorry, white people. But yeah, no, like, fuck Hardball, man. And like I said before, I probably wouldn't be as butthurt if like I didn't have fond memories of this movie as a kid. Like, if I didn't have that, I'd be like, oh, this movie was...
I remembered, like, this movie a lot as a kid, too.
I know, so maybe I'm just, like, in my feelings about, like, really enjoying this, and, like, god damn, like, this really didn't... Because I probably liked it for the surface level, just like most kid movies. Like, and the fact that...
Baseball scenes, yay! Yeah. Keanu Reeves is talking to a guy about gambling. I'm gonna look over here now.
To even think about... Just think about that, dude. Like, we both liked it as kids, so, like, this movie was trying to, like, touch on like hard-hitting issues. Like, why are you trying to pander to children more than like people that elicit change? Like, even that's kind of... What was the point of the fucking movie? I know because there are movies like in my childhood that like, oh, this is a little like, this is like a morality tale in some way, shape, or form, and there are things that may be graphic, but if you do graphic shit measured, like, I think you can have show kids that are maybe 10 or 11 a movie and still reach adults, even with like regular, like even with fiction that isn't like graphic. Like, you can have fucking media that can encompass everything as you get older, as you're younger, and the fact that we both were like, I remember liking this movie as a child, and then now we're looking at it like, oh, it tackled nothing. It's all surface. We had like the baseball scenes, the songs. I thought more of the songs more than anything. So it's like a sing along. Like it makes me dislike the movie even more.
And I think this movie would have been better if it would have just like kind of switched some things around. Like after G Baby dies, you find out that the game before that he actually like hit the winning.
Oh yeah, because like they're down and like the bases are low.
Even though he's too young and can't play, but
Jamal's too old, but he can't play. Like, that's pissing me off thinking about it. Like, it's just fuck you, movie. Yeah. Like, pick a lane. Like, are people too young or people too old? People too young.
And the other thing Dickhead Coach did was they were like not Jamal. Headphones kid.
Headphones kid.
They're like, headphone kids can't wear his headphones. Like, headphone kid can't wear his headphones.
How dare you?
How can he pitch without it? Because he needs the music because it's a distraction.
It helps the noise.
From all the noise to make him pitch better because he's a great pitcher.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cute moment where the whole team starts singing the song Big Papa and it helps him pitch better again. It's like it's one of the few kind of like nice moments of the team bonding.
Yeah.
One of like the 4 moments of them bonding as a team.
Yeah, it's not a metric.
But you're not just seeing Keanu being a fuck up gambling on stupid stuff.
Yeah, no.
Like $12,000. He's like $12,000 on this. $12,000. $12,000.
There are too many. It's like it's like when you watch a movie like Uncut Gems. You expect that character to keep fucking up, and then it's compelling and like it makes you anxious. None of the scenes of all I felt with Keanu fucking up was I was just annoyed because I don't care about the character. He's not even selling like him being in trouble. Like it's just. Every time you look at him,
I just don't care that he's in trouble.
You don't care he's in trouble because each time he's talking to the one bookie or even Hector Salamanca, he's like, hey man, like, I know I'm down, I'm going to pay you back. Like, even at the beginning of we haven't even talked about the dumbest part of this fucking movie at the beginning where he's breaking shit and he's like, he's punching glass and shit. Even that scene, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
After he loses the first bet and he like tries to run out of the bar, like the one bookie bartender just like, get him, and they're like, they get him and they give him like a punch. He's like, you can't kick my ass, only I can kick my ass, and he like punches a car window and then he smashes his head on the glass of the bar and then like passes out unconscious.
Does he say like no one can kick my ass better than me?
Yeah,
dumb weird like anti-Neo bullshit. I don't know. Like it seems like too on the nose. It's just he punches a car window, puts his head through the plate glass of the bar. It wasn't even just like a regular window. It was like thick.
Yeah, he's gonna go to a hospital. The next scene is him waking up in like in a jail cell.
Yeah, drunk tank and his friend Tiki that we
have yet to talk about.
Because fuck Tiki, man. He's just another like
Tiki's like his enabler friend, pretty much.
Yeah, gambler trope boy.
And he's annoying and he sucks and he never gets the comeuppance in the movie.
And not at all. And he enables him, like you said, enables him. He's his enabling friend, and we all have friends that enable us in positive and negative ways. And that's his trope. He's just the bad asshole. Yeah, because when he
his
wins,
name's Tiki.
Yeah, Tiki. We don't hear his real name. What do we ever hear? Not Tiki?
What do you mean? Is his name not Tiki? Tiki Tickerson, I believe.
Tiki Tickerson the third. Yes. The other two were bankers, but the third Tiki, he just didn't go. He didn't get his MBA. And
Ricky Tiki Tembo.
Oh, Ricky Tiki Tavi. Whatever the fuck, man. Like he's just like he's always shaking jury. Like I feel like it's all bad.
Yeah, he's not very good.
It's all bad.
And Keanu never really learns anything from his gambling. Because eventually, his bet with Hector Salamanca is successful, and he's just kind of like, oh, I did it, I won, and then they're like making jokes like, what are you going to do next after that? It's like, I'm going to bet on this. Oh, yeah. What after what? I'm going to bet on this. And then you can see that the one bookie the bookie at the bar, like, kind of cares about Keanu Reeves because he knew his father, quote unquote, whatever that's supposed to mean.
Well, it's so generic and like, like gambling.
We don't know. We don't never find out why that
he's
matters.
A cool dude. He's a cool dude, and he doesn't learn, like you said.
Yeah, and Keanu just sees the kids again and is like, I do like you kids. I'm going to take you to a Cubs game. So he takes them to a Cubs game, and they're like, oh my God, Sammy Sosa. And they all just wave to Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, even though black Sammy Sosa, guys. Like, if you want like a good, like, if you don't want to just Google something and want to struggle through a movie to see black Sammy Sosa, like, it's just a green screen probably. It looked like a green screen. Couldn't even have Sammy. I mean, why? How could they? Like, realistically, it's like, hey, we're gonna give you money. Who knows when the fuck this movie was filmed during? Like, their seasons how fucking long normally? So yeah, so they probably were like, okay, here we go. Sammy, here's some money, just do your best, I guess. And even when you look up, like, fucking plot details, like, on, your IMDb, Wikipedia, it talks a lot about the gambling scenes, more than the... Don't care. It's so far, I think we can say, at least I'm saying, it's the worst white savior movie I've seen, like, so far.
I'm kind of disappointed this is the first white savior movie we're talking about. Unless you count the Green Book, which I don't.
I don't really.
People will say it is, but I don't really.
Not really. Because, like,
an argument could be made, but I disagree.
I disagree, too. And we can debate about that if people want to.
This is
like,
definitely trying to be a white savior movie. It's very obvious.
It's hard as
Diane Lane basically says, I tried to be a white savior, but they wouldn't listen to me. But they listened to you. You need to be the white savior.
You're a male coach. I'm just a smart white woman. They don't respect me as much.
He's such a white savior.
Because, like, they're urban black kids.
He's such a white savior that when they cut to the scene of they have G-Baby's funeral, G-Baby's mom goes up there and is like,
oh my god.
I forget the exact circumstance of it. It's like, would anyone else like to speak? And then he's just kind of like, I will speak. And he tells the story of how G-Baby, like, got the hit and, like, won the game for them.
What's really annoying about this scene is that it's a child has been murdered in this community. And this woman asks this congregation, it's a black Baptist church. A child in the ghetto is dead again. It's not a new comeuppance, and the only person with enough like wherewithal to raise his hand is this white guy. Like, if you're gonna complain about like a bad white savior movie, or people bitch about like, representation, like that's crazy to me. That like more people didn't raise their hands. It would have been more powerful if more people raised their hands. And then in that sea of like black hands, Keanu's hands raised up, and then the mom was like, "No, y'all, I know that like we all like love G Baby, like we all were here for him, but like this man, this stranger came to us, and he was like he saw like what G Baby could have been. Like there was a way to make that more compelling right there, and then they fucked that up because people who wrote this movie don't know black people. Like I like I didn't mean
pop Glock
9mm.
Yeah, the kids have been in the ghetto for so long that if they hear a gunshot from blocks away, they know exactly what the gun is.
Like the only thing I can say to that is that if you could hear the gunshot, you would know how far it was, but how dare you like make it like another? What we're talking about?
They're like 13
caricatures, man. Like, don't do that. Like, don't do that movie. Like, it's fucked up. Like, you're teaching like the wrong lesson about like what these kids are taking from like their life in the street because they kind of make a joke about it, and you would make a joke about it, but they're making a joke about knowing what the gun is, and that's a huge distinction. Like, it just shows like what their priorities are and like how like I don't know. It seems very slight, and it is very slight, but the decisions were made to portray I was in minorities, these characters in a certain light, and it's already a sensitive subject. Why are you not trying? And I feel this movie, each point in the movie, whether it's the gambling scenes, the kid scenes, the romance never happens. Like, it's just, the effort is not there. Because we've already watched movies that had effort placed on this, and I can tell there were cuts.
It has all the steps, but none of the actual, like, spirit or feeling. It's just like, this would be the scene where this happens, and this would be the scene where this happens. It's just Mighty Ducks, but not as good.
Damn.
And in the ghetto.
Damn.
Pretty much what it is.
No, if you're gonna go hard in the paint against this movie, it really is Mighty Ducks, but not good. Why would you watch bad Mighty Ducks?
Yeah, if you remember liking this movie when you were young,
shut up.
Don't watch this movie again because
it'll ruin it.
It's gonna ruin it. And if you've never seen it, don't waste your time. There are probably other white savior movies that are better, and they're better sports movies too.
Yeah, that's a really good point because like the way that this movie tried to get its point across, it was muddled every step of the way. The characterization was terrible for everyone involved. The only things I enjoyed, if I'm going to be honest, were, like I said, Michael B. Jordan's portrayal when he gets 5 minutes on fucking screen. The kids did a good job, and I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, the kid actors are always tough. Usually they're either really annoying or they're just fine. And all these kids, none of them really bothered me. So I think they all did a good job. None of the kids were annoying.
I can't think of one moment that the kids pissed me off. The kid's gonna kid, and they
all seem
like we've been saying this whole time. Like, the kids did their best, but like if you have like a pile of shit, like what are you gonna?
And again, the movie doesn't focus enough on these kids.
Not at all.
They're just kind of a group. They're just a group of kids,
which is fucked up because it kind of talks about like you're trying to show like, oh, if you give people structure and this and that, they can blossom and like be their own people. But the group never does that. They're kind of they treat them as like one big like monolith again. And like we've been talking about this through a couple episodes. Like, it's fucked up to treat any group like non-individuals. And in the movie about a sports movie, you guys have seen sports movies where you can have an ensemble cast and you care about the characters. You remember the characters. There's a bunch of characters in the Goonies. I bet you remember all those fucking characters. I bet you remember the characters in Heavyweights. I bet you remember the characters in I can go on and on about movies with children in them, and this movie fucked up. Like, it's just
the generic kids. It's kid with asthma. This kid's too short.
Headband kid.
This kid has headphones on.
One
all
kid
the
has
time.
an afro. That kid doesn't talk. I guess he presents too black, so maybe we can't have him talk. He can just be in the background.
Yeah, there's just 3 kids that are on the team that just don't do anything. They don't have any lines.
Wait, I remember what my wife was like. You should call them the chorus, like in a play. It's like chorus, peanut gallery, like whatever the fuck is. That's how the movie treats them. These children that on a baseball team. I've even watched anime that have better characterization of baseball teams like than this movie about. The only thing they had to figure out was the sports. And like you said, that's not even good either. Even they didn't focus well enough on the race or the gambling. Like, you have a baseball movie here. Like, you have so many movies you could pull from to like make this good, and they never did it.
I would just be curious to see what an R-rated version of this would have been.
Be better.
Because
It'd be
it would have been a
better.
little realer. The kids probably would have said certain things that would be more realistic,
They-
especially given the circumstances
Yeah.
of how they're growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also, just for all I know, there could be scenes that are on the cutting room floor that could be really good.
Yeah,
But
but
can't put them in a PG-13 movie.
We can't. We'll never
You
know.
can linger on like a dead child with a bullet wound for a really long time.
I'm thinking about that more and more, and it fucks me up, man, because like there was no need to do that if it wasn't earned. Like that's the thing. It's like gratuitous violence. I'm never gonna like censor dick, but tell me why I'm looking at this. Like, can I have context? That's how you get desensitized, because you're not even questioning what the fuck you're seeing anymore. So it's another dead kid. Like I was kind of glad. I was like, I don't like how this makes me feel. Like I don't like how this scene is like making this feel like I should be, feeling a certain way. Like it just felt like I was watching a dead kid. Like I fucking pull up a video on something on like fucking World Star and like someone's getting popped off. Like that's what it felt like. And I was like, I don't like this. I didn't like it. So even from that perspective, like I know we were joking around having a good time, but like I thought the movie had a ton of gratuitous scenes like that. And like I said, if you like this movie, like we both been saying, if you like this movie, really, really, realistically, don't watch it.
And I think the worst thing about it is the fact that it tries to have this happy ending of them having the trophies.
You don't.
'Cause it ends with them not even. You don't see them win the championship
You
game.
don't see them.
You just see them holding the trophies and being happy, while Keanu Reeves looks like he thinks it's just a photo being taken and not a video, because he's just kind of awkwardly standing there.
Like, fuck
while these
you,
kids are
movie.
all cheering like they just won the ship.
Fuck you,
They
movies.
just won the ship. They just won the ship.
Even and guess what? This could have been the how about this movie? Let's compromise. This could have been the montage moment. We're like, okay, we're not gonna see the full. We're gonna see the full championship game. We're gonna see like when Keanu Reeves.
They're winning.
Flashback to G.
They're losing. They're winning again. Now they're losing, but now they just won.
All we see is the end results of the win and we had seen scenes in the movie before of them like playing against the asshole team. If they had restructured them winning against the asshole team at the end and shown scenes of the baseball at the end, like I said, the movie didn't try.
What else would have been really good? The fact that at the end of every practicing game, there's pretty much like there's one or two scenes of the kids walking home and you seeing how crappy it is where they have to walk through.
Yeah.
And I think a great ending to this, which would not have been a happy ending, would have been very sad, is that if after they win the ship, they all kind of go home and they're holding their trophies, and then they kind of just walk through their horrible neighborhoods, and then maybe, they put the trophy on a shelf somewhere, and you just see this nice-looking trophy of a championship game, but it's still in this neighborhood, so it's just kind of like, yeah, you won, but look where you still are. And it would have been a really good,
Poignant.
tragic...
That sounds
It would have
so
been a pretty good
poignant.
point,
Yeah,
where it's even if you do win the big game, your life isn't going to change that much. You still live here. This is still the circumstances that you dealt with.
This is still your life. And also, even just from the visual perspective, let's say you don't want to care about... Let's say you have like your come up.
It's such a good visual metaphor. Look at this trophy.
Yeah, no, not even the trophy. I'm literally picturing how this kid, whoever has a trophy, they all have trophies, because the movie ends with them all having trophies. Whoever has a trophy, they all have one. Doesn't matter.
I would say
whoever's walking home.
End on Coffee. I think would be the saddest, because he's the one who
his
lost his brother.
His brother's already dead, so
he
this
lost
is
his brother.
Yeah, perfect. So Coffee, picture this. Coffee is walking off the field. He is won. Like, he is fucking victorious. He's shown that, like, you can fucking achieve anything, this and that, and he's prideful. He's, like, fucking confident. He's smiling. Fuck the trophy. Watch how he degenerates into survival mode from that field, from that bubble of safety, when he's like, all right, I'm here with my friends. I have, like, a support system, and then he's going back closer to home, and he's getting more and more anxious and more nervous, because he has to not look as happy. He's trying to figure out, how am I gonna, is this, do people know it's a shitty looking trophy? Like, people are gonna take this, or are they gonna take it just to, be cruel, because some people do that in the hood. Like, you would see the level of thinking that goes into being a child in certain areas, regardless if it's the hood, because there's whether they're black or white, like, poor is poor. Like, poor places have more trauma than rich places. So it would have been really poignant to see that level of triumph, and then have another 5-10 minutes of him just walking back, because it's not a happy ending, but it's a real ass ending.
Yeah.
And it would have been a better fucking movie. And that wouldn't be hard. That would have been hard to do, Kevin.
We also saw through this not happy ending, because Jamal's still in a gang.
Yeah,
Jamal's still in a gang. G-Baby's still dead.
You don't even see the rest of Jamal's arc. It's just like he got kicked off the team. Now he's in the gang. The end.
It would have been great to see his slowly transitioning into that gang,
The end.
maybe you see a few scenes of these gangsters trying to lure them in to join the gang. like have a scene like that where it's like maybe they're interested in him and he's like, oh, I don't know, and then they're like, we'll be back, and then when they come back he's kicked off the team and it's like, well, now I don't have anybody, so or something. I mean, that's kind of generic the way I said it.
I know, but that's this whole movie. It's like that's it's bad because like we've all we've done is watch it twice. I was like, oh fuck, man, like I'm not genius, but like you could have done like 4 things and made the movie better. Hey, I'll split the difference. Do 2 things. If they changed 2 things, this movie would have been objectively better. And they're not hard, like, soul-searching things. It wasn't like we had to do a fucking ton of research for this one. It was just like you looked at the media and we were like, oh, I've seen better examples of this. Why didn't they see better examples of this? It was just, I felt dumber after I saw this movie. I was like, I'm glad I'm never gonna watch this again. I feel that. Like, I've never watched this movie again.
And yet, you bought 2 DVDs, one
to
for yourself,
remember the pain.
And he bought one for me too. He bought me the DVD.
Remember the pain.
Didn't need to do that. We watched it already.
It was only $5. I spent hundreds on tattoos.
But he bought two. Damn it.
It's gonna be on our bookshelves forever, Kevin.
I hate you.
I hate you too. I hate you too.
I have nothing more to say this movie. It could have been better. It has a few good moments, but it's not enough. It's not very good.
And once again, where the fuck is Diane Lane?
Yeah, where's our Diane?
She's on the cover.
We wanted more Diane.
You can still get a Diane. Damn it.
Oh, Diane.
But yeah, no.
I would love to be in that classroom.
Real talk, man. Hide all the bummer's desk. But yeah.
Check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Email us at ablackandwhitereview@gmail.com.
We have a Snapchat. Fucking, if you look on, I think on Facebook, it has like one post where it just has everything. So just go there and, click stuff. And you'll find like more content, and we're gonna keep making it. So thanks for listening to us rant about our hatred for this movie, but it fucked up on such a fundamental level. I don't even feel it was gratuitous. Like it had a real moment to have a positive message, and it didn't. So fuck it.
But on the bright side, baseball's back this week. Maybe it's maybe back. It could be. It might not be. It might be the same if it is.
Take me out to the ball game. Give me peanut butter stale. Usually. I've never had a good experience.
That's why you got to go on Dollar Dog Night, Damon.
I've never had a good experience at a baseball game.
Dollar Dog Night.
Dollar Dog Night? That sounds like a bad idea, like fucking like 50-cent beer night, or wherever the fuck those baseball goons did.
No, the Phillies would do Dollar Dog Nights.
Oh,
so good.
Oh, I would go for that. Oh, fuck what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, real talk.
You mean a baseball game I can go to?
Oh, yeah, no, fuck it. $1 hot dogs? Sold. All right, so this has been Black and White Review. See ya.
Deuces.